This is What a week.
What a week. PoliTricks.
Hey, tada. Welcome to this week's edition of Wow, What a Week, #PoliTricks with Fresh and Botsang. This week is mad. Tariff tensions. Ramaphosa rings Trump just before the US hammer us and our economy. UNISA hosts justice talks, or do they? And Parliament are cooking their own version, minus the lawyers. Another black exec in hot water, 60,000 rand, or maybe a couple of million worth of hot water, depending on how you see it. America asking Rwanda, can you please take our prisoners? Because maybe Lona legaba because we can't. And a Zambian president will finally get a burial after 2 months. Please welcome Botsang Modimowame Moiloa.
Profesh, good morning. I've got
Yes, sir.
a bit of a sore throat, and good morning to the followers and the viewers, the critics. You know my sore throat is
Yes.
because of you. One, I've been to Joburg almost every day this week.
Oh, yes.
It's very early. Now my sleeping patterns are a mess. So I had to call my mom and say, by the way, when you used to sing in church, how did you handle your voice?
Yes.
I know they said warm water, no lemon, and if possible, put honey and sleep more. I'm like, I can't sleep more. But anyway, brother, a bumpy week we had. Actually, before we even...
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Before we jump into the bumpy week,
Yes.
your book is now
Yes, sir.
available online.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Where
sir.
do we find
Thanks
it?
to you. Thanks to you and to the gentleman, Zbusiso.
Yes.
Makamo Mkab, that you hosted on 93.8 FM. I met the guy after, and he actually, in a few hours, loaded. My book is available online. South African Books Online is the
Yeah.
site. South
SA
African
Books Online.
Yeah, SA Books Online. And it's still available on hard copy. You can order the hard copy online. You can now even order the e-copy online. While he has actually finally pushed me to where you've been pushing me, that will soon after you make time have the audio part of
Yes.
it online.
I will narrate Botsang's story as an audiobook.
Yes, and so the book is available online. SA Books Online is the site. But if you go to my social media handles, I always put the link that you can just click on that and order the either hard copy or the electronic copy.
And because one of my whys in my career over the last 33 years has always been hook people up, empower people, point people in the right directions of opportunities, Braheben Mashaba's book
Yes,
is also now going to be available on SA Books Online.
exactly.
Yesterday, we had Rami Treni on Wow, What a Week. Next week, I've made an arrangement that her book is available on SA Books Online.
Thumbs up to you, Brian.
And that is how we work. You put people on. If you can open a door for someone else, do it. Even if you're not using the door, open the door and say,
Walk in there.
walk in there.
No, thanks a lot. Yeah, so and funny enough, you know, I was laughing. You've been pushing me for 2 years.
Yes.
In less than few hours of loading the book, 5 copies were on sale, then 7. And to our follower in France, and we've got another follower in South America, in the Caribbean island, she already ordered her book, and she said, look, I've been waiting, now finally it's there. She bought one for herself and one for a family member who's sitting in France.
That's amazing.
So that's very amazing in 1 week. Yeah.
Speaking of over the seas, let's go over the pond. Tariffs, President Ramaphosa calling Trump. And what's going on?
Fresh, why would you say what's going on? We know what's going on. Yesterday, on Friday the 8th, it was effective. Actually, at midnight on Thursday the 7th, going to Friday the 8th. It's not about South Africa. It's all the countries that the United States of America has imposed tariffs on.
In fact, India were given parcela because they're doing business with Russia.
Yes, they added more shame to India. But there's 2 things that happened also this week. The President Lula da Silva of Brazil and Prime Minister Modi of India, they've actually showed in inverted commas the U.S. administration under President Donald Trump a middle finger. So you can go ahead. We don't care. You're not going to bully us. Go ahead with your tariffs. We'll do our thing.
Because why would Trump want to interfere in Brazil's affairs about a former president who could have possibly tried to steal an election.
Yes.
When he tried to steal an election himself, Trump.
But actually, if you recall historically, that president, that the Americans, particularly Donald Trump,
Yes.
he was installed in America in Brazil by the Americans, by the Trump administration. The first time when Trump was the president, he installed this guy who then jailed Lula da Silva. So it has a history in it, and it's very personal. And they want to interfere with the judicial, process in Brazil that is investigating the former president, and they've put sanctions on Brazil for that. But also, all BRICS member states, they all got 10%, slap. So our tariffs with the USA are at 20%. The reason we are at
Not
30. No, the reason we are at 30, the all BRICS member states, they all got 10 each.
Or Parcelanyana.
Yeah. So basically we are on 20%,
Yeah.
like other African states. But because we are BRICS member state, he added 10. With India, he had added 10, Brazil and all that. But with India now for buying oil from Russia, he added more. That's absolute madness.
Is Germany not doing business with
Forget Germany.
Russia?
Forget Germany. The USA,
Yeah.
under sanctions and trade embargo, and the British, they've been doing business with Russia. They're doing business with the USA itself is doing business with
double
Russia.
standard, yeah.
No, it's not even double standard. It's being bullying. It's wanting to tell countries what to do. But look, President Ramaphosa, on the eve, 2 days before the tariff kicked in, on the Wednesday, the 6th, he made a call, and he's trying to say to Mr. Trump, can you find a way? And talking about continued engagement. Now, those who studied economics fresh will know that these tariffs, they may have come into effect on Friday. But it's not going to happen immediately because trade, you don't order commodities and export goods at the moment. Probably by the time this is really into the figures and the business books of exporters from South Africa,
Sure.
it will be a few months from now. And maybe they would have reached a settlement. It could happen.
And I see people laughing about how Trump is dumb because these tariffs basically are going to affect the American consumer. But these tariffs don't have to affect the American consumer if the importer in the US decides, I can't afford to import from South Africa anymore.
Yes.
So please cancel that $1 billion order.
Exactly.
Then we start seeing the method behind the madness. Because we assume that if South African goods going into America are going to have a 30% tariff, that people will still want to order them. There's an option to cancel.
Yeah.
There's an option to look for, if I can't afford South African narkies anymore, and I'm not willing to pass the cost on of the tariff to my
consumer. Yeah.
I can find a cheaper
You can consume
source.
locally or find a cheaper source from anywhere else in the world.
And that is where the madness or the method to the madness then starts working in their favor. Because then there's also an opportunity for someone else to say, maybe I can provide these goods myself within the US, which is what he's trying to do.
Either farm them traditionally, naturally, or even farm them in a laboratory. You understand? The South African wine. Look, the only reason South African wine, and I can say that with authority being in the industry, was doing well in the US compared to the French and Argentina is very good wine as well. It is because South African wine is relatively cheap when you look at the exchange rate and, or forex, whatever. It's relatively cheap. A very good bottle of wine will be selling between $5 and $8 in the USA. So for us, it may be big money because normally the exporters will sell it for about 45 rands. 60 rands, between 45 and 60. But for the Americans, that's very cheap compared to the Argentinian and the French wines. So Trump is not mad. He may be...
No, let's agree, he is mad.
And diplomatic, but
he's not 100%
he's not stupid.
Dumb regarding
it's not.
tariffs.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It is for the benefit of the American economy.
Yes.
Some ways he's being unreasonable and childish, to want to punish a country because he's dealing and trading with another sovereign state. That is not acceptable. But he knows what he's doing. You understand? If people don't see that he is actually protecting the American economy and saying to the Americans, wake up, work, produce locally and manufacture things locally. And those who want to bring their goods, I don't say they shouldn't come. I'm saying they will come at a certain cost. And it's up to other countries to retaliate in a similar manner. Some other time ago, we spoke about how Canada and Mexico,
Yes.
they said, you know what, middle finger will do it our way. So it's an unfortunate situation that we found ourselves in this situation. But according to the presidency in the country, President Ramaphosa tried last attempts, spoke to him, and nothing much came out of that. The engagements will continue. However, fresh, I must say to you and our followers and viewers, again, we are a reactive country. We are reacting to this whole thing. Yes, there's been engagements, but we were one of the first countries, as way back as in May, that were hosted in the Oval Office. And we wait for last minute. We knew since Trump got into office in January, the 20th of January 2025, we knew what he was going to do. We knew when Rasul was chucked out, and former Ambassador Rasul was chucked out of Washington, what we are faced with. And I don't say the government did nothing. I'm saying we walked like a snail. We did things in a snail pace. And there's only two economic options that we can do now. One, diplomatically to continue engaging, but economically, the government must make funding available. When we are in red as a country, we must make funding available for those sectors, the automotive sector, the what do you call it, the agricultural sector, and the steel sector, to make funds available to can bail those companies in order for, we're already struggling with unemployment. So in order for the situation not to be worse, make funds available. We don't know where will we get those funds. But the other element that we can do, and this is what I think the government should have done openly and long ago, look for alternative markets. That we should have started when Trump started the noise. While we were engaging diplomatically, we would have went to the Middle East, we would have went to North Africa, we would have engaged the AU and say, let's buy from each other. The way the European Union has done. When the European Union brought in the euro, 98, 99, America was upset, obviously, and China. But what they did is they stick together. Understand? And even before UK had the exit.
The Brexit.
Yes, you understand? They stick together. They traded amongst each other. Despite the punishments and the anger of the US, we should have done that as an African continent. And I'm saying South Africa should have led that pact.
Yeah.
We have minerals. We have everything that the world wants. Everything. We have the brains, we have the skills, we have minerals, we have the land, we have the weather, we have things that America is crying for. And what is wrong with our mentally colonized African leaders for not to be able to sit in one table? They can wear suits and get into one plane to go and break truce or peace in Ukraine and Russia, while they can't do it in South Sudan, while they can't do it in the DRC. Understand? Now they can't even talk to each other to say the Americans are starving us. But we've got best agricultural countries in this continent. What can we do? That's what leadership should have done in this continent. And they should accept they've dismally failed. Understand? And now, the day after, President Ramaphosa called President Trump, and I'm sitting and I'm saying nothing came out of that call. Then on the following day, on Thursday, he called President Putin and had discussions regarding the what do you call it, the fueling of
Yeah, there was a ship that needed
that docked
to fuel and replenish supplies.
Yes.
That was denied access.
The DA made noise and they wanted to deny them access, but I eventually learned on Thursday night that they finally got up. They didn't allow them to come into the country. Okay. There again, it was because normally what happens when there's this military naval ships, when it docks to refuel and replenish, it's just like an aircraft when it lands somewhere for really. The people will be allowed to come into the
disembark.
country. Disembark, not to get into the country, but into a secluded area to refresh, buy some few refreshables.
So they were denied that?
They were denied that. And I think the Minister of Home Affairs, who's the Minister of the DA, actually abused his powers.
Oh, wow.
But it was refueled and it continued to sail because it was also going to East Africa and eventually to Brazil. Again, it's an American ship. It reminds us the British story, Lady S. It's the same.
Is it an American ship or a Russian ship?
No, it's a Russian one.
Okay.
It's a Russian one that came from Russia. It's traveling through Oceania, through Africa, then to Latin America. So it's a normal military exercise or naval exercise, if you want to put it that way. But
so why are we playing hardball with them then?
again, it shows how there's disunity in the government of national unity in South Africa, how the Democratic Alliance, when it comes to foreign relations, is differing with the ANC, and it's going to cause serious problems for us. You understand? Another one is pro-East, another one is pro-West, or another one is double standard. The ANC is playing double standards. But the DA's argument was, we are trying to negotiate with Bas Trump. And while we are in the middle of this thing, you want to come and have Synox, I forgot the name of the naval ship. You want to come and dock it here and all that. It may irritate Trump even further. But nothing is going to stop Donald Trump to be irritated and all that. But anyway, it sailed, it moved on, and again, when we have such situation, my position is the rule of law must prevail. We have laws in this country. We are signatories to various treaties and various bilateral agreements. And those bilateral agreements, at times, they include military, exchange, military practices. We should not be dictated by the excitement of the U.S. president, we as a sovereign state, or by the fears of the Democratic Alliance as the member of government, no longer even the opposition. It's their fears that they are governing the Western Cape should not supersede the national rule of law that we have to have activities and arrangements. Imagine if the Americans themselves, because they do it as well, they have military practices and all.
They have war games.
Yes. Imagine if we deny them access to say, no, but if we allow you here, we will upset our friend China or our partner India or even Russia.
But you also need to remember that right now, the Smolny is trying to dock in the Cape.
Smolny is the name.
Smolny, yes. They're trying to dock, but we're also trying to appease Trump.
Yes.
And I think it was probably at this juncture.
Yeah, that was the DA's argument.
To quote comrades, at this juncture, what do we do?
No, but Fresh, a principle is a principle.
Yes.
And like I said, there's a rule of law. There's bilateral agreements. We can't just forward it. Russia is a friend, is a partner economically.
And in fact, at the time, America and Reagan and everyone else were not willing to budge. Russia were there.
Actually, at the time, under Reagan and others, they declared the Nelson Mandelas and the Sobukwes of the terrorists.
No terrorists.
Russia was like, we'll actually train
we will train them.
Yes. We'll train and arm the terrorists to defend themselves against land dispossession and racial discrimination. So I don't say as a country we should bank on historical things. I'm not saying that only we must accept the situation today. But I'm simply saying, if we allow one country to come and do their military drills in our shores, why wouldn't we allow our friend to do the same? And America must not dictate terms to us. No matter the cost, if it costs us losing, don't lose yourself. If you're in a business deal, if you're in a battlefield, don't lose yourself, because you will not be able to rise from the ashes once you lose yourself. America will forever ride over us if we allow them to do so.
Absolutely.
But yeah, good luck to South Africans, good luck to business people in South Africa, especially those in the citrus and macadamia, as well as wine industry, the motor, what do you call it, the automotive.
Yes.
I don't think there's, look, I don't know the figures, but I never knew that South Africa is so big in automotive industry that we could export to a country like the US.
Yes.
I'm actually surprised.
No.
I'm embarrassed, actually. As an economics student, I'm very embarrassed that I was not aware that our automotive exports are so big. I know steel and citrus and agricultural, but I was not aware that automotive, especially to the US.
I think between Roslyn and East London, and I think Port Elizabeth, there's a ton of cars that are being assembled just for export.
Yeah, but again, the Trump administration will start up and say, those are German vehicles, you just assemble them and export them in South Africa, especially to right-hand car. I know that the Mercedes-Benz C-Class, right-hand drive, they are only assembled in South Africa for export purposes.
Sure.
Actually, it's so funny that you will find that C-Class of Mercedes-Benz, it's cheaper. It's assembled in South Africa, but it's cheaper in a foreign country than in South Africa. And it's because the Germans are dictating the price, are dictating the cost of assembling the vehicle. But look, it's a lesson for us as a nation. Self-reliance, it's something that some of us who were taught during the liberation movement, we never took it to government.
Sure.
We are talking that we are sovereign state, we are independent state, but we are not. One day we should have a discussion about sovereignty and independence. I don't think there is a country in this world that is sovereign and independent, especially after the USA imposed tariffs on Switzerland.
Yes.
On the Swiss, whoever imagined that the Swiss can become victim of USA?
But that's why at a certain level we can't play victim.
Yeah.
Because everyone is going to suffer something at the hands of the so-called Trump madness.
Yes.
And I think only time will tell if Vele is madness or there's a method to that madness, and the long-term results might show different results to what we think is going to happen.
Yeah, it's about time. But people must stop. I'm not angry with Trump. I'm angry with my leaders.
Yes.
For failing
For
to
not-
cushion
yes.
and protect the economy and the country.
But we've been saying since January, February, that can we start imagining that we have to live without AGOA,
Exactly.
so that if AGOA stays in place, we are still powering on.
Yes.
But if our AGOA gets dropped,
What do we
that
do?
we've been operating at that level already in anticipation.
Yeah.
But instead we're going to wait for the rug to be pulled from under our feet, despite seeing that this guy is coming here to pull a rug from under my feet.
We still stand on top of that rock and we say, let's talk, don't pull it first. But anyway, Snowy, what do you call it, has sailed, and Trump tariffs are on.
Smolny.
And Trump's tariffs are on, my brother. Yes.
Can we... there's a lot happening. So UNISA or the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, through UNISA, we're meant to host the national dialogue. But now I'm finding out that maybe they're not doing that anymore. And across the country in Cape Town, the Ad Hoc Committee at Justice are busy with terms of reference
For the
Mkwanazi saga. There's a lot happening.
Those are the two. Then there's a commission on the other hand.
And then on top of that, attorneys are saying, but we're feeling left out.
Yeah, actually, coincidentally, let's deal with the easy one, the national dialogue, which was supposed to be preceded by a national convention. During the week when we had our show on Thursday morning,
on 938, yes, sir.
on 938 FM, we even spoke about how now UNISA has been given the rights to can be the host for the national dialogue, and we even went on to say it's good because the Thabo Mbeki is cool, it's part of UNISA, and President Mbeki is the chancellor of UNISA, therefore they will stop crying. Boom, boom, fast forward. On Friday, all the other foundations, the Thabo Mbeki, Steve Biko, F.W. de Klerk, Helen Suzman, Ahmed Kathrada, and this is not this is Sulu, the
Nelson Mandela.
No, Nelson Mandela is not there. The former leader of the ANC, husband and wife, Albertina, not the Sisulu man, the other couple,
Tambo.
The foundations have all issued a very lengthy statement, a very damning, actually, in my view, statement to the government to say, one, they are withdrawing from the National Convention and the National Dialogue scheduled for the 15th of August.
It's now.
It's in the next
It's in a week.
few days. Yes, they are withdrawing, and the reasons they are giving of the withdrawal is that there's too much interference by one government and civil servants. So again, you can see Botsang, the civil servant, are already sticking their noses and most probably their fingers in the 700 million budget, and they want to dictate terms on how this thing should run. So these foundations have collectively issued a statement. But another important thing, Fresh and the followers, that they are mentioning in that statement, and for me, it is genuine concern, because it has been the concern of many people, to say, yes, some eminent people or prominent people were selected to be the face and the ears and the eyes of this foundation, but the real South Africans, their day-to-day lives, their voices are not represented in those people. And if the government runs with this thing, it will just look like another government program that has come, like the seminars the government has been having, the job creation seminars, the investment seminars. And therefore, these foundations are saying we cannot come and endorse a government program of a failed government, a government that we want to take on review And that's what we are, because that's what the dialogue is about, is to review the performance of the government in the last 30 years, especially the current, GNU. And therefore, if government is going to spearhead that process, it doesn't serve the purpose. And they are not saying they are completely withdrawing from the process. They are saying they're withdrawing now. And they ask the government to take a little bit step backwards, because a national dialogue cannot be headed by the government. It must be led by the people. And they're asking for postponement. I think 2 more months. They say October, 15th of October. Is it 2 months? August, September, October. Yes, 2 more months for this, and the government must take a step back. I support that part. Look, when one looks at it, they are crybabies. They are crybabies based on the fact that they say it's them who started this concept. It's them for the last 2 years, this foundation.
Yeah, they've been agitating for
They've
it
been
for
agitating
a while. Yes.
for a national dialogue, and therefore they want to be in the forefront of it. I have a problem with that part. Yes, they've been agitating good and well, but when you look at all the leaders of those foundations, or the founders, or who they are named after, it's the same people who were in the founding mess that we are in today as a nation. You can name everybody, all of them. They were, maybe with the exception of Ntate Kavrada, who really was never in government. But when you look at President Mbeki, Motlanthe Foundation is there, the Tambos and all that, they made the policy of this country. They made this country where it was, where we are now. They developed policies of this country. They gave input and they played roles in developing policies of this country, which some of them are very good policies. Some have failed, some were never implemented. So even them actually, they are not immune to this whole process. But I support the call that let the ordinary South Africans lead this process, not the same government that we want to evaluate and question. Let ordinary South Africans, let academics and engineers and students and activists and even noble men from the society.
Yes.
A pastor.
Every township, every town has someone that the people look up to and say, if anyone's going to represent us, is that
person. Yes.
Send them in.
Send those people in. And I think they must broaden the scope. And take the press away from the civil servants. Take the press away from politicians. Don't allow this 700 million that I can tell you. This 700 million, it will be over 1 billion when these things ended. Just make sure that civil servants who are hired, controlled, or deployed by politicians do not get anywhere near that press. Even if it's government money. Even if it's government money, don't take the same bunch of people who are looting the state to get anywhere close to that money, because this whole convention or dialogue will fail this money the same way as other commissions have failed.
I'd even be as bold as to say, assuming it's going to happen in the next week, and if it is postponed to October, then almost have the way there were like fan parks during Philip is here.
Yes.
Have similar in all the communities. Where there's a community center, even if you set up a screen and you give work to local eventing companies.
Exactly my point.
So if there's a small eventing company in a small town in the Free State, you hire them because they have a track record already and they need the business.
Exactly.
To set up screens so people can come and gather there, represent where they are from, so that there's everyone is included.
Organized sound system, even if it's streaming live, let the people talk about the challenges in their communities, let them talk in their language, let them anger their frustration. Take it to schools. Take it to tertiary institutions. Let's hear how NEFSAS has failed the people, how NEFSAS has helped the people as well. I think that's how it should be done. We should not rush. I also like what the foundation said actually, or these foundations, when they said, let us not rush this important thing, because it's a corrective measure we want to put into place. Why is the use of rushing it? And I think for that I'm supporting them. I honestly think this thing should be postponed. It's too close. It was mentioned about a month and a half ago. It's already happening. There's a budget. President Ramaphosa came with a list of 31 or 32 people. Consulting who informed him, who advised him. I don't have a problem with the people on that list. Some of them. But who said those people are representatives of the society?
Absolutely.
And I said, go to the society, to the nation, to the communities, and say the president is going to have a dialogue. We've got, say, 3,000 municipalities. As you said, they don't have to bring everybody into a hall in Santi.
Yes.
They can have these meetings in community. Go to Alexander and say, communities in Alexander, we want 2 voices from Alexander, for example. Go to Gugule, go to Kayalicha, let the people speak. Go even to the Verkrampte Afrikaners in what do you call that place that is secluded, that they call the
Oranje.
Go to Oranje and say, come and talk in this national dialogue. Come and represent your voice. You want to keep Oranje for future because the voices of the people are saying we must get rid of Oranje. So why would you also have a national dialogue and you leave representatives of the racist Oranje people out? I don't even know if they're racist or they're just proud.
Or just nationalists.
They are nationalists, you understand? So why we want to leave them out?
Yes.
And I think for that, thumbs up to these foundations. And what did you raise again? You're fresh. We had a lot to do.
We were still in Parliament talking
yes.
about the Ad Hoc Committee on Justice and the terms of reference
Yes.
that they're busy with.
Yeah, no, they have drafted.
And the chairperson who's an ANC member of Parliament.
Oh, yes, that's
also been up in the air.
Yeah, the Action SA, actually.
MP Lekhanyane.
Yes, their leader, and yes, they opposed, actually, to say, but how can the chairperson, and this is where it comes from, that the president of the ANC, when he took over power in 2018 and called the ANC, based on the Zondo Commission, processes that time, and finally the report to say the ANC is the number one accused when it comes to crime and corruption in the country. And processes have proved. I said to you during the course of the week, it is not me who says ANC are the number one corrupt people in South Africa. It is the president of the ANC who said that. But also, I agree with him. One of the few occasions when I agree with President Ramaphosa, if you look at criminal prosecutions, if you look at the Zondo Commission, if you look at every time there is corruption, if it's not only ANC people, 99% is ANC people. Not to say the DA and others are not corrupt. Maybe they're doing it smart. Maybe the ANC dominates them. Maybe the ANC is because it has been in power. But they are predominantly the most corrupt people this country have. And they could have reasons why. And the Action SA was saying, how can we have the chairperson of an ad hoc committee of Parliament to be based on the numbers, or to be based on democracy, because he was voted in to lead this ad hoc committee after somebody nominated Julius Malema of the EFF, and Julius declined, but the Action SA was opposing that. Look, this is where democracy does. ANC has the bigger numbers in those 3 committees that have been merged for ad hoc purposes. They have the 40% in Parliament. They will obviously dominate and have more members in these committees, followed by the Democratic Alliance. And somebody had asked me, but the chairperson, can he influence? Can he if you know how meetings and how Parliament works, he cannot influence the decisions and the input of other committee members, but he can actually drag this thing and start showing favors. Understand? Be aligned to this, interrupt other people. You can use your power as the chairperson. To suppress other people and all that. Yes, other people will rise, like Julius will rise and oppose that. He won't keep quiet.
Why do you think Julius did not accept his nomination to be chairperson?
Well, for me, when I apply, I look at it. It actually surprised me at the beginning, because a month ago when he held the EFF birthday press celebration, he said, I'm going to be the chairperson. I want to be the chairperson of that committee. But after he declined the nomination, there's 2 things that came to my mind. One, he realizes that it is going to go with the vote, and the majority will prevail. And he's a bad loser, so he didn't want to lose.
Okay, so basically avoid losing by not being in the race.
Yes, they don't enter the race if you know that the DA and ANC are going to vote together.
Yes.
So you decline, then you are not a loser. I think that's one reason. But the other reason that I also think, which is good for the country and good for the committee, Julius is a firebrand and is not afraid to can call out people. He is better off in the not chairing that committee, so that he can be a rabble-rouser in that committee, can ask the relevant questions and challenge the people. I'm just happy that they say their number one guest is Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. They've said that. So now they are going to take these terms of reference, which I don't think they should waste time. They wanted, I listened to their discussions, they wanted to go and everybody looks at the terms of reference, give inputs and come back and sit. But that chairperson already demonstrated some level of wisdom. What is his name? Is it Soviet Lekhanyan?
Soviet Lekhanyan, yes.
Yes, Mr. Soviet Lekhanyan said, no, honorable members. Why do you want to go and look at the draft and come back and discuss the draft? Give your inputs when you are there. Oppose what you want to oppose. Let's do it online. The day we meet, we adopt.
Yes.
And I think that was very progressive.
Absolutely.
I think that committee, I have more confidence in it than the commission itself.
Do you think if the committee are thorough enough, the commission is still necessary? Or the commission is necessary anyway because there are things the commission will cover that parliament committees will never be able to get to?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the commission, there's no turning back. So the president has pronounced it will happen, it will take time, it will cost us money. Another billion will go into those lawyers, advocates, and the judge.
Is that why attorneys are saying, but what about us?
Yes.
They're squeezing in.
Again, the Black Lawyers Association has written to the presidency and to the former Deputy Chief Justice or acting Mr. Mdlanga to say, but the only appointed advocates on this commission of inquiry into state security and judiciary.
Yeah.
Again, because they are never in, and why not attorneys are left out? Why only advocates? And fresh looking at it, and I've said it before, when it suits politicians and the judiciary and the system, you will be told you can't talk to an advocate. You must have an attorney who is an instructing attorney. When there's money to be chowed and a commission and what the attorneys are being left out. And I think the Black Lawyers Association are raising a very fair point. They are not being given an opportunity to be exposed, to also to work and to continue to demonstrate their responsibility as attorneys in the society. But again, they are business people. Lawyers are running businesses. Who said they don't deserve a share of whatever that commission is going to share amongst those advocates? But yeah, that's the lament. But going back to the Parliamentary Committee, I think, going back to your question, I think the Ad Hoc Committee of Parliament will be restricted because it can only be dealing with civil servants or people in this case, the police and the justice system who are allegedly involved in this process. Minister Mchunu is still a member of Parliament, is still a minister of police. And many other people that I mentioned there. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi is a civil servant. He can be someone to go and make a representation there. He has been in Parliament before.
Yes.
I think it will be limited to that. But there are ordinary South Africans who may want to go to the commission, who know something, who are neighbors of these alleged kingpins and mafias. You understand? There may be people like you who are in the music and entertainment industry who probably got brown envelopes when you were playing at some club. And you will say, I did get a brown envelope. Yes. You know, I'm just making an example of what the commission can cater for, which in Parliament it cannot be catered for. You know, something very interesting crossed my mind while you are at it fresh. Do you remember that after the commission was pronounced, Mr. Honorable Minister Gayton McKenzie went on TV and said, I will go and address that commission. I know what has happened and I know the people who are involved into these things. Only this week, when he was on TV for something, that crossed my mind. If a member of the cabinet, a leader of a political party number 5 in the country, rises and say, I know and I have info, why wait for the commission?
Yes.
Why is he not going to the police station? Why is he not going to his principal, Ramaphosa, who has appointed a commission of inquiry? Oh, why doesn't he address the safety or the justice or the whatever committee in Parliament about what he knows about these criminal activities?
Absolutely.
Why wait for the commission? If the commission was not called, what would have Brother Lord Gayton McKenzie done about this information that he has? And it just crossed my mind.
Is there a possibility that sometimes politicians make statements in order to just rattle the cage, but maybe they don't have anything to offer? It's just part of, I'm also here. Namin shake the cage and let walk off.
Unlikely fresh. Politicians are human beings. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And it may not be to the depth that we wish. And knowing Gaten, he doesn't just say things.
Yes.
He doesn't just, he's a doer, he's an action man. And before he was a minister, he was a street boy. You understand? So he ran clubs. You understand? He ran clubs.
But for argument's sake, if let's say he did know stuff.
Yes.
But he said nothing.
And that's my worry.
Isn't that problematic?
It is problematic. It's very problematic. That's why I am surprised that he went public to say that. I think he was too excited. But it's problematic that you are a member of the cabinet, you are an MP, you've got representatives of your political parties into those committees, most probably of justice and what. You are a political party that is doing very well. You've got information, and we know how Gaten McKenzie and the Patriotic Alliance, one of their trump card towards the elections was security, was violence in the Cape Flats, was illegal immigrations, was how foreign nationals are the number one accused on heists and crime and drug dealing and human trafficking.
Yes.
That is the Patriotic Alliance manifesto. That's not me saying it. Now, the leader of the Patriotic Alliance says, I know people who have been doing these things, who have been selling drugs, who have been killing people, who have been committing crime and dealing with police, corrupt police. Why didn't he take advantage of that the minute the PA got into government to say, we are now in government. I'm not going to sit and talk in newspapers. I'm going to raise these matters with number one in the cabinet, because he's a cabinet member, or with my principal, the president, or I'm going to ask my members who are MPs in those committees to raise and table those issues in those committees. If I look at it from governance perspective, that's what Mr. McKenzie should have done.
Yes, sir.
Instead of waiting. Because at the time they went into government, it's over a year now. We didn't know that we'll have this commission. You understand? We didn't know, and he knew this information. And like I said, my mind was running amok. So when I thought of this, and I'm like, this is very interesting. If I go to that commission, I will ask Mr. McKenzie, or if I'm one of the advocates there, I'll ask Mr. McKenzie and the presiding officer under oath and the president, if you knew all this all along, you are a cabinet member, you are a representative of a prominent political party, what did you do and why did you keep quiet about it? So those are some of the questions that I'm going to expect those legal eagles to raise in that commission towards Mr. McKenzie.
Absolutely. Let's move to state-owned entities.
Yes, sir.
And the fact that there are people talking about how senior black execs, especially women, are under siege.
Yeah.
And where do you draw the line between, if there's a case to answer, must be answered, and there's a pattern that, for instance, maybe whether it's black women versus white males who might be in similar situations, chances are it's the black female that would be called out. There's almost a double standard being called out by a lot of commentators right now.
Well, Fresh, look, the level of corruption in the public service, especially in SOEs, the state-owned entities, it's sad because it has gone, it's like it's part of our fiber. These days, of our, what do you call this thing? What they used to identify you biologically, DNA. Understand that professionals, when you take somebody who is unschooled or uneducated or naive, and they end up committing a crime, unaware of what they're doing, it's a different story. But I am not going to fall as a black person. And you know how much I love my African people.
Yes.
I love our people to the core.
But you also are very pro accountability.
Accountability, yes. I've been a civil servant all my life, except for 2 years of my life I was in the private sector. I've been a civil servant, and I've had a principle, a code of conduct, but a personal principle that I chose that path or that career to serve the people. It is not my money, it's the money of the people. Now, if I get caught in a cookie jar, I should not bring the race thing, because when I applied for the job, I didn't bring the race thing. When I took a career to be, for example, an economist or an accountant or an engineer, you didn't bring the race thing. So when you get caught up, I don't like this story of us as African people. When one of us has done wrong, we want to bring the race card. I'm saying let justice prevail. And majority of the people in the state-owned entities actually can't think of one except the Rater who messed up. And you used white male as an example. The Rater, who were all over him, he messed up. As actually the ANC-led government and the ANC ministers and politicians who went to take the Rater from where he came from to come and worsen the situation at ESCOM. And after that, he goes and he talks nonsense about ESCOM and the country. And today they are saying he was actually a mess. We went all over the Rater, and he's a white male.
Yes.
You understand? Now, when we have our own sisters who are in prominent positions, CEOs, COOs, everywhere, DGs and what, and some are HODs in government entities, and they mess up, one against their principles, two against their careers, because a lot of these people who are registered as accountants, they belong to professional bodies which have code of conduct, despite the public service code of conduct. Three, they were there to serve the nation, the people, you understand? And once they fail doing that, we cannot come and say, black female executives are under siege. We can't say that when there is material evidence in front of us. If there's no evidence or if there's allegation, I always say, let the law apply. Let processes be followed. If a person is innocent, is innocent. But to come with stories that black female, and look what has happened. It's not only in careers, in government. You remember the Magudumana story?
Yes.
There was that story as well. Nandipa Magudumana was not in the public service. She was a nurse who started a career in the public service. I mean, not a nurse, a doctor. In the public service, she went successfully to come and do independently what she did. We cannot do that. We can't bring the race card. Yes, racism is alive in South Africa. Most of the time, you will find that when racist people, and I don't want to say white or black or what, racist people want to push their agenda, they will target another race. But why do we subject ourselves? Why do we make ourselves vulnerable to be in that situation? I tell people, I had so many opportunities in my life to be corrupt and to steal.
Yes.
But I took a principled decision to say I'm not going to do that, because we see what happens with executives and senior management in government or DGs. Once the poo-poo hits the fan, politicians dump us.
Yes.
You are on your own. You understand? And like the case of this lady that has happened this week, yes, Malaka Tebogo Malaka of the IDT. Where are the politicians? Where are those who were her principals? What are they saying about this whole thing? And you will see, I can tell you, like many others before her, not only the IDT or in any other entity, she's gonna be left out in the cold on her own.
Tebogo Malaka issued a statement, though.
Yes.
Almost alluding to the fact that it was a setup. She had no idea that they were there to meet Mybreg. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolute nonsense. Number one, that's nonsense. I read that statement.
Yeah.
I'm pro leave work to professionals. That woman should have kept quiet.
So, as in, we can't quote you on your silence. So,
you are quiet. There's a process. The minister, who is your political boss, has placed the chairperson of the board, yourself, which she has been on suspension, for another thing or for the same thing, and the spokesperson who was seen on these videos. You have placed them on suspension to investigate and lay charges. Fair. Let that process run. Understand? I've been out of work. I've never went and talked to the media about what happened to work. I'm actually being pushed to the edge every day to talk about what happened. But because there's a process that is in court, that is hanging, I'm heartful and tired about it. But keep quiet, especially when the so-called racist journalist, and I put it in inverted commas as racist because that's what they are alluding to now.
Yes.
whether they planted a bomb there, whether they misled you, whether you were led to that, whether they released a video with clips that's not raw. She's demanding a raw.
Oh, the full thing.
The full thing, not the clips as what we have seen. She's demanding.
So she's implying the video has been doctored to disadvantage her.
Yes. And look, the South Africans, and we spoke about it before, South Africans are like Americans. Sensation in this country causes movements. We are having a commission of inquiry because of the sensation that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi has caused. But at least he had the facts and he had the names. He was not afraid to do so. This one, the sensation to it, and we're excited.
Yes.
We saw the video. And the fact that she said it's doctored or it's not the raw one, it may mean something. If she goes to court...
So should we give her the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, then, Peter Louis Myberg, can we see the whole video, please?
Yes. The social media advocates and lawyers and defenders are already actually starting to lean more on her side. They are looking at it. One thing that I will give her credit on that regarding the video, and now this is me being the devil's advocate.
Yes.
If you look at that video, she was conversing with Peter whoever.
Yeah, Louis Myberg.
Yes, Peter Myberg. The other guy, the spokesperson of ITT, was not there. Now, this is me observing, zooming into this whole thing. This lady is going to go to court, let me tell you, and throw the spokesperson under the bus.
And say, I had no idea we were there
I
to
had
bribe
no idea, yes.
We were there to bribe someone.
Yes.
But she's also saying it was a setup in terms of someone is trying to stitch her up outside of the journalist. Isn't that what she said?
Yes.
Or implied?
She's implying that because the other gentleman, I forgot his name, is a spokesperson of the agency or the entity. So he is the one who will normally liaise with the journalist and the media.
Yes.
And when he said, let's fly to Cape Town to meet the journalist regarding this, albeit on suspension. She was not supposed. You're on suspension. You're not even supposed to be doing that.
In fact, she was not even meant to leave the province at the time to travel to Stellenbosch.
Exactly. That's another element. She will say sorry for that, and then they will slap you on the wrist. But if you look at what happened in the video, this is the part I wanted to bring in. It was that gentleman, the spokesperson, who's now suspended, who came with a package, whether it's Gucci or whatever the brand, that had the money that is purported to be 60,000. If you look at it, it's him who took it out of his pocket, put it there, took out and gave it to that guy. This lady is going to stand up and say, I was shocked. I didn't know what was going on. And I say, and her statement, and only that part, plus the part that she was recorded unfairly. But I heard what Peter Myberg said before, last week. I heard what he said. They deposed affidavits. So it was a plan set up. Yes, indeed, it was a plan set up to expose her, because he said they deposed affidavits. The law says you can't record the person without their knowledge. But if it is an investigation and you involve law or law enforcement authorities or the principals of, because look what the Mkhwanazi of this world did. If General Mkhwanazi did not put this thing in front of the media and we focus on options, we would have not been where we are. And I think the Daily Maverick journalists, I don't say it's an ethical practice and conduct what they've done, but I'm saying they've put a story in front of us.
Yes.
At the moment, there's a story in front of us. We have a CEO, a black, very young woman with a very bright career background, who found herself in this situation. And then they started creating, some stories about these people have been working with the minister. The minister is involved. For me, as a South African, I do not care who's involved anymore. I do not care who has led who and misled who. Yes. I'm saying every corrupt person in the public service must face the might of the law. Simple as that. I don't care whether you are my sister, my aunt, you are black, pink, and purple. I don't care really, Tato, because when you look at what is happening in the country, people are suffering, people are hungry, people are dying because they don't have oxygen in hospitals. People are being killed.
Yes.
You understand? There was a report, I can't remember which media house issued that. Over 130 civil servants have been killed in the last 1 year for doing their job. I'm not talking about political appointees. I'm talking about an accountant there, an auditor there, a forensic investigator. People doing their job are being killed because of corrupt people. And I'm not at any stage alluding to any fact or alleging that Ms. Tebogo Mankala is corrupt. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's allegations. There's an investigation on the table. Let us not bring race into this whole thing. Let us investigate it. And let the authorities do what they're supposed to do.
Infrastructure Minister McPherson has laid criminal charges.
Yes.
He says he's disgusted at what's been revealed. What do you think will happen of those charges?
Look, like,
will they be investigated? Will she go to trial?
I thought, Fresh, we spoke about it last week, man, when we spoke with Tatemen Mashaba.
Yes.
There's two things I'm thinking. One, there's been these charges laid against allegedly corrupt civil servants. A lot, for all the years. Very few of them end up in court. Or they take 7, 8, 9, 17 years in courts. It may go that route. That's one element. The other element is now that it is a white DA minister, and I'm emphasizing on the word white because they're pushing the black Trump card, that it's a DA minister. And remember, he is actually a political boss of the IDT, because the IDT is the agency of the Department of Public Works. So he's actually in his right to can do that. I think he is going to follow it. He was also a bit, in my observation, I looked at the body language. He was also a bit emphatic. He was a bit like, this thing, I've been suspecting this before I was a minister, and it goes to my belly, and if it's at the bottom of my belly, I knew there was something that I'm like, this is so much drama, Mr. Minister. You didn't have to say all those things. Why did he look at it before he was a minister? He didn't know he would be the minister of that department. What dragged him to look into that?
Don't forget that often, especially as opposition, people will often slip you a note to say, go sniff there. Likewise with the investigative journalists.
Yes.
Someone will snip a note to go look there.
Yes.
Go sniff.
I've done it several times. I've done it several times.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised that someone in opposition would have been privy to the suspicions that there's oxygen supply deals here that don't make sense.
Especially when it's hundreds of millions of rands involved. But another thing that comes to mind actually to support what you are saying, the Democratic Alliance, when they were the opposition, they always had what they call shadow ministers.
Shadow ministers, yes.
They have shadow ministers. Probably was the shadow minister of public works that time. But look, it's very sad, the lady is gone, then it's a women's month, these things are happening. There's another lady of SAMRO, South African Musical
Rights Organization, yes.
That has been placed on suspension because she, at least that one is not being said to be corrupt. He was a whistleblower. And there's just a lot happening. The grandchild of the Sisulu family, prominent ANC, founders, that I love and respect so much, the Sisulu family, their grandchild who's an HOD or an MMC in Gauteng has been placed on suspension for maladministration and corruption by Panyaza Lesufi, the Premier of Gauteng, based, at least that one is not based on allegations.
Yes.
It's based on forensic. What I respect Lesufi for, despite the fact that he gets under pressure, he doesn't bow easy to pressure. He acted once the forensic, even if he delayed to implement the forensic report, because these forensic reports are not new, and thanks to the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng, they've put him under pressure to release the findings of those forensic investigations. But at least he's basing his actions on a forensic report.
Absolutely.
Unlike basing things on journalists or hearsay or what.
But we know that for the past 30 years, why all this action only now? Is it a coincidence that it's before local government elections? Or is it really we are on a renewal path and we need to do what we need to do because we can't afford to drop below 40%?
Both. One is the little bit movements of renewal from the ANC and the factions of the ANC.
Sure.
The factions of the ANC, they're banning each other, exposing each other. You understand? That is helping us as a nation. That's one. But also, the Government of National Unity members, there's 9 members. I've heard one has withdrawn now. It's no longer 11, it's ANC plus 9, so it's 10. They are watching each other and they want to prove to their constituencies that since we've been in government, we've cleaned up some of these things, or we have exposed some of the wrong happenings within the government. So them exposing each other, and I think the Democratic Alliance is not budging, is not towing the line of saying we are part of government. They will continue to expose them. So it leaves them where there are ministries like Home Affairs, this one, and basic education, and wherever agriculture with Steenhuisen, Groenewald, is it Groenewald?
Yes.
In the prisons, correctional services, is from Freedom Front Plus, if I'm not wrong. In those ministries where it's the former opposition and the right-wing parties, they will have to assert themselves. They will have to prove their worth. They will have to say, we are running clean governance process. And anything we are going to find out about those culprits and those who have been eating monies, we'll expose it and we'll lay charges. And I think they will follow them up.
I think that's probably why, even with the portfolios that the DA are overseeing within the departments of the government departments, you can tell that they're intentional about how they do things, how they PR those things.
Yes.
Even projects that were started by ANC ministers that have been completed with a DA minister or deputy minister.
They shine.
They take the credit.
Yes.
The way Trump is taking a lot of Biden credit. And they PR it because the optics say these people are delivering.
Yes.
And the elections are around the corner. So maybe these are the right people for the job.
The same. And I've said long ago, the DA will not leave the GNU now.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something about what.
Because the GNU is their campaign.
Yes, it's their campaign.
It's low-hanging fruit in terms of we're going to spend less on the campaign trail.
Yes.
Because you're seeing us.
You're seeing us, yes. And you're seeing us doing government work. This is how people should govern. You are making a very easy example. The same ministry or department, Public Works. Remember, the deputy minister is the former minister.
Yes.
He started 2 major projects. The one, it was investigating corruption.
Yes.
That it was at its entail to be publicized. And when it was publicized as the DA minister, he ran with it as if he did the job.
Yes.
Now, coincidentally, there were allegations by the Daily Maverick almost a year ago against the same lady, Miss Malaka. And the then minister, who is a deputy minister now, the former premier of, what is his name? The former premier of KZN, defended Ms. Malaka. He actually issued a statement long ago. I can't remember whether he was already deputy minister, saying there's a concerted effort to attack and discredit Mr. Malaka. That was the deputy minister saying that, the current deputy minister. Coincidentally, this whole thing's come up when there's a DA minister who has now laid charges against the person that the deputy minister said was defending. You understand? So actually, this marriage, well, I don't even know if it's marriage or it was sexual intercourse arrangement between DA and ANC. It is not working for the ANC. It is working for the DA.
Yes.
And it brings me back to what you remember how Mr. Herman Mashaba shocked us last week when I said to him, "Are you breaking news here that you may be joining the GNU or you are approached?" I was told by 3 people, one of them from Bosa, actually, one of the leaders of Bosa, Built One South Africa, told me this week that no, the ANC is making rounds. They confirmed they are running around, and the ANC NEC outcome said they are consulting and inviting other small parties to come to the GNU. Ask yourself why.
Because I think, in my simple mind, if we can replace the DA numbers with other numbers, then we don't need the DA in the GNU.
Yes. That's why they're playing.
But what if the DA say we're not leaving the party? Or Pella, it's our party, this party we are throwing.
There's one thing that can happen that can throw the DA out. It's very easy. You bring the EFF in.
Yeah.
The DA will be out. You understand? You bring the EFF in.
But what if the DA said, no, actually, we like it here?
They will vote them out. They can bring the EFF in and Ramaphosa may reshuffle the cabinet to save the face of the ANC. I don't think he will do that. And put the other parties that are outside, Action SA, EFF, maybe MK, I don't know, bring them in, give them cabinet posts, and remove the DA. You know, say what to the DA? Say to the DA, you are misbehaving, you are not touring the line, you are behaving outside the government code and conduct. Therefore, I'm removing your ministers.
You're anti-government.
You're anti-government. What can the DA do when you remove their cabinet ministers? What can they do? What will they be in the GNU form if you remove their ministers? The ANC can save its face by doing that. I know they will not do that. President Ramaphosa has no guts and a spine to can do that. He has nothing near that. He will not do that. However, that is one thing that can save the face of the ANC to move. I think they are moving to 25%, but to move from 39.8 to 40-something or 50, I doubt it. But it can save them.
Yeah.
The DA is the problem. And remember now there's the South African Communist Party divorcing them. COSAT is angry with them. So they're losing.
So already they are risking losing even more numbers.
They are.
Although I mean, many were going to argue that the Communist Party are not going to really dent ANC numbers if they stood alone during elections.
They won't dent it. But the what is going, they won't take numbers from the ANC. They will make ANC people not to vote.
Ah, yes.
And I think they are not the ANC members or angry members will not take their votes elsewhere. They will rather stay home come local elections. And local government elections are very important because that's where the press is. That's where the deployments are.
They're personal for every vote. They're very personal.
Yes. So those are much more important than having a president who's focusing on pala and other stuff more than the country. So I don't think the South African Communist Party will tend. But this bedroom battle between DA and ANC, trust me, Fresh, it is going to backfire, and it's going to backfire very badly. Very, very badly. You know, many of us may not like him, and we may say he's a howler, he's a flip-flopper, but most of the things that Julius Malema has alluded to in this country have happened.
Yes.
Whether it was corruption, whether it was him being personal, and they have happened. Because he used to have sources that are no longer there in the ANC anymore. But Julius is actually the savior to the ANC.
Yeah.
If you look at it with an open mind and you go broad, the ANC can save itself through the EFF. But if the ANC is going to try and swallow other small parties like BOSA, like ATM, like Action SA, they will not win. And actually, voters and followers of those small parties will be upset with their leaders to be swallowed by the ANC. However, if the EFF works with the ANC to keep the DA out, and work with Inkatha Freedom Party and other small ones there, it will bolster the ANC much better. And the EFF will have a muscle. They will have cabinet ministers. And Julius insults or swears at people on TV. But when he is there, it's like, hi, man, this is not personal. Don't think when I said, Mashatile, you are sick, look at the way you work. It's not personal, it's political. So I think we should not rule the fact that the DA, I've said before, the DA will leave the GNU through the local government elections.
Sure.
Or towards the 2029 elections. But something is boiling. It's not healthy to be in the GNU.
Yes, sir. Let's go slightly up the border.
Yes.
Prisoners for payment. I think it's 200 hardened criminals.
Yeah, plus minus 200.
That the US have asked Rwanda to Twaraso, these people, and they're paying for it. Cash for convicts, if you will.
Yeah, well, maybe we must start calling it that. They realize that, our neighbor here, Kim Muswat, is very slow. He takes 5, then he takes 20, and Rwanda will take more. Look, it's very concerning, Fresh, and the viewers. You will recall that some year or two ago, there was a similar situation between the UK and Rwanda. And right at, the end when the UK was supposed to transport, there was an uproar in the continent. And I don't know what made President Kagame to actually withdraw from that deal with the UK. I can't recall very well what transpired there. But it's shocking that it's the Americans now who are transferring almost plus minus 200 hardened criminals, not American, not Rwandese.
Yes.
You understand? From third world, third countries, third party countries, to be imprisoned in Rwanda for a fee, for money. They don't tell us how much per prisoner that Rwanda will get from the US. We know the numbers. We also know what they should be entitled to. They should be entitled to housing or accommodation. They should be entitled to health services and education.
Yes.
So they must be subjected to some level of skill, whether you want to study law or engineering or an artisan or VNS or a bricklayer, but they must also come out of serving their... Some are on lifetime sentences. But at the end of this whole process, luckily none of them are on death sentence. Otherwise, they would have not been there. So once they complete their lifetime or they are paroled, and they will look for a place to stay because their original countries have rejected them. So actually, when you look at it, these people are going to end up being Rwandese residents. You understand? Because if your country, let's say if it was Botsang from South Africa, who has committed murder in the USA, and have been sentenced to 40 years imprisonment. Now the South Africa says, we don't want that murderer and the USA, but we don't want to keep him here.
Yes.
Rwanda says, bring him here, I'll keep him for you, but you pay me for keeping him. Madness. That's madness.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, so many people are asking on social media, but Botsang, you've been in the diplomatic service. I worked with consular service, prisoners abroad, drug traffickers. What's going on? Is that part of consular service? I said, no, unheard of. It's not part of the Vienna Convention. It's not part of the treaties that we signed. It's an arrangement. It's an arrangement between America and the UK started it. And fresh, again, sometimes we must think outside the box. Sometimes we must stretch our brains a little bit. Brains are like a rubber band. I learned that when I did biology at Standard 5. That's how 5 went with biology. Brains, you can expand it a little bit. Why would the USA and the UK not want prisoners? They have two options. They can lock them up in their nice prisons or hardened prisons, or actually throw them into their original countries by force, drop them there, like we deport people. Why don't they deport them?
And the wild thing is, these are the same countries that America is willing to negotiate tariffs with.
Yes.
But you're not able to negotiate with them to take the people back. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Because, if you're going to twist the arms of different nations for different reasons, why can't you twist the country of Botsang Moiloa's arm to say, take your people back?
And it's not even like in these 200 plus prisoners that are going to Rwanda, it's not like 100 of them come from one country. They come from various countries. They come from Latin America, they come from Northern, they come from Africa. You understand? So they are from various countries. So it's not hard to say to Nigeria, I've got 15 of your nationals. Take your nationals, or I'm bringing them by force. I'm going to drop them at the airport. What can Nigeria do when the US does that? You understand?
It seems like diplomacy for them only works when it suits them.
Yeah, but why do we allow it as African nations? You understand? Why do we allow such? The only thing that makes sense to me in this whole thing, this comes immediately after the peace deal between the DRC that happened last month, the DRC and Rwanda. Remember what happened? Qatar brokered the deal to say, actually, I don't know if Qatar brokered the deal because President Trump is claiming that he's the one who brought peace there. The only thing is that the meeting location was Qatar.
Yeah, but I think the Saudis probably brokered the deal. Trump might have said, guys, please talk.
Yeah.
Or please help us with this. But the Saudis brokered the deal.
Exactly. Now they spoke to, they had a deal. And part of the deal, if you recall, part of the deal with Rwanda, one was the Rwandese forces must stop supporting the M23 rebels. Number two, they finally brought the M23 rebels to the table. Number 3, Rwanda should withdraw from the DRC or the eastern part of the DRC. They should withdraw. The 4th one is the critical one. The USA, not Saudi, not Qatar, not anybody. The USA has signed a deal with the Tshisekedi government in the DRC to say we will provide security. Understand? Where Rwanda exit and South Africa
We'll guard your minds.
will guard your mines in exchange of some of your mineral rights, access to mineral rights.
Yes.
That's what the Americans are benefiting from. They will guard those mines. Who's going to guard those mines?
U.S. Marines or mercenary companies.
Mercenary companies. Let me tell you who are the mercenary employees. It's these prisoners who are going to Rwanda.
Is what you think?
That's what I think. I call it the conspiracy theory. America is not going to risk their lives.
It's food for thought.
Yeah, look, Trump is under tremendous pressure from the Americans regarding his way of governing. And he doesn't want to be seen as saying, I've sent our navies or naval seals or military personnel to go and guard minerals in the DRC, and some are killed or they are ambushed by M23 or any other rebels. I think the Americans are bringing these so-called prisoners that we don't know their identity, their faces, their nationalities. They're bringing them to Africa to train them as mercenaries that will be operating in dirty work in the continent. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You can castrate me for that, but because that's the only thing that makes sense.
We don't castrate people here. we can disagree, but we're not castrating you.
You are doing very bad things in this country. There's very bad things happening in South Africa. Just a softy one. Did you hear about the American tourist who was killed by a buffalo in South Africa? And I said to people, they must send a note to President Trump to say, we are coincidentally it's a buffalo, and the president of this country is called a buffalo.
Yes.
And this American tourist was killed. He was a hunter. What do you call them?
Yeah.
Trophy hunter.
A trophy hunter, yes.
Yes, and a buffalo killed.
So nature won for once.
Nature won for once. The buffalo has won against the killer.
It lives to tell. Lives to fight another day.
Yes, and I'm saying very bad things are happening in South Africa. Buffaloes are killing tourists.
And aside, I don't know why we call hunting a sport.
How can killing be a sport?
Because for me, a sport is if the buffalo also has a rifle.
Yes.
Then it becomes a sport.
Exactly. You understand? When the buffalo put us on equal. In boxing, we have the weight is in the measured rank. We all have gloves.
Give the buffalo, the lion a rifle, then we can call it a sport.
That is a sport, yeah.
And then I will watch.
Let me tell you, as a Buddhist and a non-killer, that buffalo did agree. It represented all other buffaloes that were killed by the sword trophy hunters. It represented them very well. I'm not sorry for that.
Yes, sir. While we're still in Rwanda, in fact, don't forget that the Rwanda asylum, the Rwanda UK issue, it was asylum seekers that the UK were seeking asylum for in Rwanda. And then the UK Supreme Court ruled that they don't deem Rwanda a safe place for asylum seekers.
And asylum seekers.
And that there might be breaches in international law.
Okay.
That is why that deal fell.
Didn't go there. Okay.
Yes.
Because of the British court ruling.
Yes, yeah. The Supreme Court does not deem Rwanda appropriate for asylum seekers. So they don't want to feel like we're sending people to we don't know what.
Oh, no. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. You see, in other countries, courts are respected. In America, what did the Supreme Court say about these people that are being dumped in Rwanda?
Trump doesn't care.
Yeah, but Trump fires it.
The fact that judges have been arrested even.
He is going to fire, I'm telling you, he's going to fire the governor of the Reserve Bank. Watch this.
And he's been agitating for it. He's been hinting.
He called him a stupid in front of the media.
Yes.
Oh, guys.
And this is the same guy that he appointed.
He appointed him?
I think he appointed him.
No, I thought he's old. I thought he has been there. I don't know. I just heard he calling you stupid. I'm like, imagine a president, Ramaphosa, calling that stupid.
Imagine.
What in front of the media?
Because even if I don't agree with you, I'm not going to degenerate into a child in a playground.
Like we have a situation in South Africa now. The governor of the Reserve Bank and the Minister of Finance, they're at loggerheads because the governor of the Reserve Bank has went and pronounced on the economic growth targets. And the minister is saying, no, but I told you not to do that.
Yes.
Why do you want to set up? Look, that story for another day, but I would prefer Lesija Kanyara with his capitalist policies than what the government is saying, because the government has failed to can control the economy and inflation targets and all that.
Sure.
The mistake we did as a country is to make the Reserve Bank for all the years responsible for that.
Sure.
So what Lesija Kanyara is doing, it's what the ANC-led government has been doing with all others. Remember during the Triple M, Mbeki, Manuel, and Mboweni, we used to call them Triple M because one was the governor, one was the minister, one was the president. They were cordial, those ones. But it looks like the Minister of Finance is not cordial with his agencies. Remember the fight with the SARS commissioner?
Oh, yes.
Now it's with Lesija Kanyako. Something is nilekeda. At the Treasury and its entities, things are not nice there. But we'll discuss it in future.
Let's go to Zambia quickly before we wrap up.
Yes, sir.
In fact, literally as we were about to sit down, an article dropped at bbc.com. A South African court has ruled that Zambia's government can repatriate the body of former President Edgar Lungu and give him a state funeral despite his family's opposition. The Pretoria High Court ruled in favor of the Zambian state, which had previously applied to block the family's plan to bury him privately in South Africa, where he died in June. At the time, Zambian state lawyers argued that personal wishes should not override the greater public interest. The dispute follows a long-standing feud between Lungu and his successor, President Hichilema, with Lungu's family saying he had indicated that Hichilema should not attend his funeral. What are your thoughts at a diplomatic level and at a personal level?
Which one should I start? Let me start with the personal one.
Yes.
This is it is exactly 2 months actually. If I'm not wrong, President Lungu passed on, I think, the 5th or the 6th of June.
Yeah, 2 months ago. 2 months ago.
2 months. It's exactly 2 months, and their body is sitting on ice in a mortuary in South Africa. I think it's a sad state of affairs because his family is here. So what does Zambia now? Let before I go diplomatic.
But the minute you become president,
yes,
even at death, don't you remain our person as a nation?
That's what.
And shouldn't that always override family wishes?
Not always. It depends on the constitution of the country.
In fact, in Zim, I think the Mugabe family got their way. With him, I think, buried at the Matopos Hills or something, if I'm not mistaken.
I think in Zim they got their way because the sitting government or the successor was still ZANU-PF.
Yes.
I think that's how they got away with it. It's still ZANU-PF, you understand? But this is mainly, you see, that's where colonialism is failing us. Because these countries, I will tell you the ones that I know. It's Zambia. In the Republic of South Africa, it's the same, but we don't own the body of the deceased, of the president, or the mortal remains. And then come in Namibia, it's the same. In Namibia, actually, they even have the heroes, not actual burial site. And then in Zambia, we have just got to learn as well. But this is based on the old tradition and practice of the British monarchy. That the what do you call it, the monarch or the queen or the king, whatever, it belongs to the people, belongs to the state. It comes from that whole colonial era. Now the Zambian one, it's so bad, fresh, because sadly, Mr. Zungu,
Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu.
Edgar Lungu.
Yes.
Sadly, when he was the president, the founding president of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Kenneth Kaunda, the late President Kenneth Kaunda, passed on. And Mr. Kaunda had wished, just to give a brief background of what their law is prescribing. It's the law, it's in the presidential proclamation, it's in the constitution of Zambia. President Kaunda had wished to be buried at the family farm or site.
Yes.
Against the constitution of the country or the practice of the country. But Mr. Lungu at that time said, no, we can't do that against the constitution, the practice, and so forth and so forth. Okay, so
what has happened now then is in line with how Lungu himself did things.
Yes. But there's a big difference in this whole thing.
Okay.
Well, it is in line. I'm saying yes. I'm confirming, but there's a difference. Now, Mr. Lungu became in power and he was removed out of power by his arch-rival, the current Hichilema.
Hichilema.
Yes.
And we're told Hichilema even treated him
very badly, according to the reports that came out there. That's why the family got self-exiled to South Africa.
Ah, yes.
It looks like they left Zambia running away, because there's even rumors and allegations that they came into South Africa with Zimbabwean passports. The Zimbabweans helped them to come here, not only for health reasons. It is not true that they only came here when he became sick. They've got houses in South Africa. They are living here. The kids are here, or some of the kids and the spouse are here. That's one element. Now, the family says because they hated each other with the successor, with Hichilema, he didn't want anything to do with him.
Okay, but let's take Hichilema out of the picture for a second.
Yes.
But if the presidential handbook, for argument's sake, in Zambia says, at death, your mortal remains shall be duly and respectfully be laid to rest by the state,
yes,
as has happened with different presidents, including the founding father, Kenneth Kaunda.
Yes, sir.
Surely, even if our dad and current president, the incumbent, did not get along, that should not deny the Zambian nation of an opportunity to bid him farewell.
Yes.
Surely.
Yes, I agree with you.
As much as I hear where the family are coming from, he was not president to Hichilema.
Yes.
He was president to his people.
And actually...
And as they say, one Zambia, one nation.
Yeah.
Even if we are fighting...
we are still one nation.
We are still one nation.
And actually, he according to the family records that I read on court papers, he did not say he doesn't want to. He said he preferred to be buried.
But I don't want that guy.
He said, I don't want that guy in my funeral.
Yeah.
Understand? I don't want Hichilema. And I think that's what made them lose the case in the South African court. I mean, imagine a nation, a big nation like Zambia, and a family of the former president. They come and fight on South African land in South African courts, and the South Africa, because they were residing in South Africa. If you recall what happened on the day of the funeral, a month ago, the Zambian, not auditor, what do you call the what was general? Attorney General was in South Africa in court while the family was in church.
Yes.
Burying.
There was an urgent.
Then there was an urgent application, yes. and then a court order was issued that the funeral must not go ahead. But now the government has decided yesterday, not the government, the court in South Africa, the High Court has decided that no, the body must be repatriated. There is a political element to it. Two things. One, the Zambian government, and I heard it only this week, presented in court that actually the spouse. They went far now. Is not legally married in court papers. To that. There's a customary marriage that was not concluded in terms of the customary.
So now they were airing.
Now they were airing other things.
Airing dirty laundry.
Yes. To say you are actually not even fully customarily married. Therefore, you do not have. As they we are bringing this now. And I think it helped them. Their practice, their constitution, what you call the presidential handbook, and this fact that you are a customary law wife. And that was not concluded in terms of the customary practices. And therefore, you still do not have a right to can determine. We will apply what the constitution writes. But I'm saying it is dirty that African brothers and sisters can end up in that position. You keep the body of a person in a freezer or in a morgue for over 2 months just because you want to find where to bury. And it's the law versus emotions, is the law versus preferences of the family. And the last thing that I've learned and from very reliable sources in Zambia that have been keeping me informed about this whole thing is that actually the current government of Hichilema, they want to arrest the spouse because of some of the monies that it's alleged that the late had stolen or siphoned out. He used the children and the spouse to siphon the money to countries like Switzerland, Zimbabwe, and South Africa, and somewhere in the Middle East as well. So there is a fear that if Mr. Lungu goes to the funeral to bury, she may be arrested and face...
Mrs. Lungu.
Yes, Mrs. Lungu, you understand? So there is that fear and those allegations as well. But look, I hope none of them appears.
Yes.
I pray that none of them, because it's clumsy.
Not for me. I think, regardless of the beef between the two presidents, the former and the incumbent, in all fairness, a nation should get an opportunity to bury its former president. Regardless of what the beef is, regardless of what even said president's wishes might have been on his deathbed, the minute you walk into that office, you're ours.
And also, how can, even if you wish, how can you say the sitting president must not come to my funeral?
No, if that's your
when
wish,
he's the one who's going to declare that a state funeral.
No, but if that's your wish is fine, and we can declare it publicly that he doesn't want you at the funeral.
Yeah.
But the long and the short is, I believe the Zambian people should be able to bury all of that.
The person that had elected into power. Diplomatically, what I thought it was the fight at the beginning when this whole thing started, I thought it was about diplomatic privileges or presidential privileges. Remember, the Lungu family, when they are in South Africa or anywhere else in the world, and they are here legally, and South Africa is being told that they are here, they are provided a diplomatic or presidential security and all that privileges, even if it's at their expense or our expense. That's why when this thing started, people ask, why is President Ramaphosa getting involved in the death and the burials by sending Minister Lamola to Zambia? I understood why President Ramaphosa was doing that, to go and engage the Zambian government, because it costs us money to keep them here. When they travel, when Mrs. Lungu travels there, he must have security and all those. And I thought at the beginning, this is happening because the Zambian government, and this was my thinking, the Zambian government says you can't continue to get presidential benefits while you are sitting in South Africa and spending our money in South Africa instead of spending in the economy of Zambia. You understand? That was my thinking. That was the thing that would have made sense to me, to say, the Lungu family, why do you want to live in South Africa and remember President received this lifetime benefits and receive the Zambian people's money. You are buying houses and cars and school and investing and eating and living in South Africa with our money. For me, if they would have used that argument, I would understand. But no, that's not the case. I was wrong. It is all about the body, the mortal remains. They want to give Mr. Lungu a state funeral in Zambia. And people like me who don't believe in funerals, I was discussing this with a friend, and I said, you see, I don't want a funeral. I don't want drama. I don't want a funeral.
Yeah.
If I collapse, I told my family, where you pick me up, crematorium, leave those ashes there, mix them with the ashes of other things you find there, so that there's no drama, no girlfriend or ex-wife or future wife or pregnant girlfriend.
Or they must divide the ashes. They must divide the ashes.
Everybody will get a small cup of my ashes and just go.
Take your shot of Botsang.
I don't understand African people, but anyway, I'm glad this is over, because for me, it's a bad reflection. What is the world saying to us as an African? Yes, I understand and I respect the law. I do. But how do we arrive at that? That a state president and a widow are fighting, where do we bury this body? I know you see why colonialism and colonial laws are bad for us. They don't respect culture. Other people, when they bury, they will say, let's go to where the person go and pray and do rituals to can take the spirit of that person. Where is the spirit of Mr. Lungu at the moment? Where is it for people who believe in spirits? Where's the spirit? Where's the closure? And again, this is where African wisdom, practices, and traditions are becoming important for us. We must never forget we have adopted the colonial traditions. And this is where we found us fighting for, there's no spirit, there's no body there anymore, it's ice.
Yeah.
If you're sitting 2 months in a freezer in some mortuary in South Africa, probably even a government mortuary, because now the body belonged to the South African High Court until yesterday. Understand? So it's a challenge. But may the soul of Mr. Lungu rest in peace.
And on that note, may we rest the show for today.
Thank you, my brother. I can go and have wine and relax.
Go have your wine. Where do we find you? Where do we find your book?
botsangm@gmail.com, at botsangm on social media. If you want to WhatsApp me, use 083-884-7787. But do not forget, at the moment, you can go to SA Books Online and you search for Life with a question mark, a biography of Botsang Moiloa.
Sure.
Then you can order the book either as hard copy or as an ebook. Yes, sir.
And we're working on the audiobook. I need to go into studio next week and read. Why don't you voice your own book?
No, man, no pressure. Come on, my brother.
No, I want you to read to me. So you must voice your own book.
I'm working on your book about your life with this guy. I would have polished my voice that time for your book.
So I read for you, you read for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Injawa.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. And we're done. Another episode of Wow, What a Week. #PoliTricks is in the bag. PoliTricks, where African politics don't sleep. They just shape-shift a bit and come back in a different form. We're coming to you from Discover TV in Fourways, Johannesburg. Shout out to Julian and his crew. And also shout out to Trevor and his crew at Pezulu Works. Additional production by Kiletso Modisakeng, our executive producer. We are part of the Africa Podcast Network, so you can email us on waw@africapodcastnetwork.com. Until next week, we'll be back with the same amount of drama with different actors, because that's exactly what African politics is about. There's never a dull day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing links with your friends. And thanks to all of our political types that tune in. We see you. And thank you for giving us feedback there in the corners. We're out of here. Until next week, stay sharp and have a great week in spite of yourselves. We're out of here.